Welcome to the PT Coffee Cast, a podcast helping coffee-infused clinicians elevate their practice by realizing the tools they already possess. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the PT Coffee Cast, brought to you by The Movement. My name is Dalton, and unfortunately, to kick off 2025, my beautifully bearded friend William is not with me. He's been through it, guys. He has been through it. He traveled to Hungary over the holidays. He was there for 2 weeks. He got sick. His whole family got sick. It just was not a good time. So he is on the mend. He's recovering. But I want to get an episode out to you guys. Welcome you into 2025. We are happy to be here. If you're new to the podcast, thanks for joining us. You've been around for a while. We're glad you guys are still hanging with us. I want to dive into today and share two things with you. A little conversation I had with a PT student recently and something that I'm focusing on for 2025 when it comes to being a clinician and what we do in the profession of physiotherapy. But if you guys aren't subscribed to the podcast, make sure you do that on your podcast platforms. Make sure you check us out on Instagram. Make sure you check out themovementmentorship.com. We're launching our second cohort at the end of February into March, and we're still looking for a couple more people to join. So if you're interested in learning more about the mentorship or joining the mentorship, you can check that out there. Fill out the application to have a conversation with me to see if you are a good fit for the mentorship. But we'll dive into my thought for today. So first off, I was having a little conversation with a PT student the other day. They were sharing with me that they had the goal, they had planned this out, they had spent a lot of time to put out a social media page, but hadn't done it yet. And they were nervous about it. They didn't know if they should do it. Everyone has a social media page, blah, 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 blah. Kind of all of the barriers that you would expect. But I find oftentimes those kind of barriers are smokescreens. It's not the real reason why someone hasn't gone forward with it. And this person had taken a lot of time to think about what they wanted to put on their page, what they want to talk about. They planned out a bunch of stuff, which is super awesome. Like, that is the best way to start. That is the way Will and I started the Movement PTs back in 2018, I think. We planned out a bunch of posts. We planned out what we wanted to talk about. We committed to posting one time a day for a whole year. We had all that planned out, and then we launched. So this individual had already kind of thought through that, which was super awesome, but still hadn't gone through with it. And after we got talking a little bit about maybe some of the barriers, we got down to the nitty-gritty of the fear of putting yourself out there and either failing or the opinions of other people. And oftentimes I think this is what holds most people back from really accomplishing anything in their life worth pursuing. And the question I'd ask them is like, what is the one way to guarantee that you're going to fail? And that's to not start. And that's a super corny, cheesy question to ask, because obviously that's the case, but it really is the truth. The number one way to guarantee that your idea is going to fail is if you don't even go and try it. And after we got talking about this, I think the individual started to realize that a lot of the fears that he was experiencing was normal. And he had this idea of who he wanted to be as a clinician and how he wanted to present himself. And he wanted to develop and grow into that person. And he currently wasn't that person. He's nervous about putting himself out there. He's not one to be like very outgoing, all that stuff. So he wanted to become that person and was nervous about taking that step, which is totally normal. But this is the greatest opportunity for you to step into being that person by putting yourself out there, trying something that you believe in, that you like, that makes you excited, and see what happens. And so I reflected on this a little bit myself, because this conversation is important to me as a business owner and a leader and someone who's trying to constantly grow. And I got thinking about when Will and I were starting the movement and even our podcast, and how we had a bunch of fear and worry around it, being students, not knowing, like, is anyone going to pay attention to us? Do we even have any information to offer? Are our classmates going to think we're silly? Are our profs going to think we're silly? All this kind of stuff. And I am so glad that we overcame that and just said, screw it, we're going to go for it and post, because literally everything that I have today as I record this podcast is an extension of the fact that Will and I started the Instagram page and the podcast. And I know that sounds a bit like crazy, but it's true. All the relationships currently in my life, where I live, my business partners, what I do on a day-to-day, the people that we've brought onto our team, all of that would not exist if it wasn't for the fact that Will and I put ourselves out there and started creating content. And I'm so glad that we were able to overcome a little bit of that fear to create what we have now. Now, obviously, I'm able to sit here and say that because we've had the success that we wanted, we've been able to work hard and develop the things that, we have now into what they are. But you never know what something can become. And in this person's case, maybe it doesn't become something massive. Maybe they don't go on to create this crazy social media page and create a job and, make their own business, whatever. But if they committed to doing this for a long period of time, they're going to gain valuable skills that they're going to be able to leverage in another way. And I think in that case, it's not a failure. In the best case, maybe they end up absolutely loving it. They create this brand that they align with. They love the content. Maybe they leverage it into a business. Maybe they leverage it to go work at a clinic that fires them up and is their dream career. And, every bit of fear that they had about putting out their first piece of content will dwindle away because they've been able to accomplish way more than they ever thought possible. So as we sit here in 2025, I know a lot of people are setting goals. I know a lot of PT students listen to this, clinicians, young clinicians, older clinicians. Maybe you have this same idea. You're sitting there, you're jotting down this idea to start a YouTube channel, to start a podcast, to start an Instagram page, and you have all these things, but you haven't taken a step. This is your push to take that step. And you need to take that step without worrying about the outcome. You commit to it. I plead with you to commit to it for a minimum of 6 months, creating, posting, doing your thing without any expectation or outcome, and see what comes of it. I promise you that it's going to be worth it. Who cares about the subscribers? Who cares about the views? Who cares about what people say? Don't worry about any of that stuff. Go out, put the stuff out there. Go after the idea, that little thread that you have that you think is worth putting out. Pull on it and see what it develops into. That's my nudge for you in 2025. I just wanted to share that with you guys. I thought it was a good conversation, and I remember being in that position back when I was thinking about doing what we're doing now, and I'm glad that we did it. So the second thing is talking about 2025. I love the change of the year. I think it's a great opportunity to reflect on where you are in your life, your career, your hobbies, your fitness, your health, all that good stuff. And something that I've been thinking about heading into 2025 as a clinician and as someone who puts out content in the health space, someone who has conversations about health on a daily basis and can truly have an impact on people that come through our doors, that look at our content, the conversation we have. And something that I'm really going to be leaning into a ton this year is to express the importance of lifting heavy weights in strength training, because I think we're at a point now with the evidence, the support, that literally every single person, young, old, middle-aged, can benefit from strength training. And I really do think we're in a crisis of having unhealthy, weaker individuals that aren't looking at the importance of strength training and the benefits it can have. And I think as physiotherapists, we sit in an amazing place to push positive narratives around lifting heavy weights, about building strength, creating opportunities to guide people to lift heavy weights and get stronger. And I think it's something that we need to lean on more and more. Obviously, it fills my bias. The movement, my approach to care is very much exercise, strength training, education-based. And so that's obviously going to be something that I'm going to lean towards. But it's the gripe I have a lot of times with people is, yes, exercise doesn't solve everything. Yes, sometimes exercise may not be more beneficial in reducing pain than, some other types of modalities, but exercise can absolutely change someone's life and can absolutely change someone's health. And so leading with the foundation of exercise when it comes to rehab, I think is absolutely paramount because it is a bridge into strength training. There's so many people that come through our space that are worried about lifting weights, scared about lifting weights because of injury or pain, and they walk out the doors feeling super confident in lifting heavy weights off the ground, overhead, rowing, whatever, you name it. And it can absolutely and has absolutely changed people's lives. And so I think as healthcare professionals, physiotherapists, we need to leverage this and push this even more beyond improving people's pain, beyond rehabbing a knee injury. It is a beautiful entry point into teaching people the principles of strength training and how it can absolutely change their life. And I think we need to start pushing that more as a profession. And the movement, we really try to do that through a lot of the options that we have. Obviously, we're an exercise-based rehab clinic. We have squat racks, we have sleds, we have heavy weights, but we also put on group strength classes in the mornings and the evenings that are specifically geared towards teaching people how to get strong. In our sessions, we help people learn how to lift weights and the principles of strength training. We very, very much push that stuff. Sorry, the wiener dog is going crazy. We very, very much push that stuff and provide opportunities for our clients to learn how to get strong. And I think that is so important for the health. So you might hear me ranting a little bit more on that topic in 2025 on our Instagram page, on the PT Coffee Cast, on this podcast. So I'm just warning you. But as a healthcare provider, as a physio, as a chiro, as you're sitting here and maybe listening to this podcast, reflect on how you can start implementing this into your daily practice, into your clinic, and think about the actual impact you can have on the person's life and health by teaching them how to strength train and lift heavy weights far beyond what exercise can do for reducing someone's pain. So that's all I got for today, guys. 2 things. If there's something that you want to get after, that you've been planning, podcast, social media, goals, whatever it is, go for it, try it, see where you fall. Number 2, preach strength training. Please, we need to show people that strength training and lifting heavy weights is safe and is absolutely necessary for their life. So that's all I got for today, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope we can get Will back on this podcast soon. I miss him. I know you guys miss him. So we'll try to have him back on here shortly. If you guys aren't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Check out at PT Coffee Cast Instagram. Check out themovementmentorship.com. We're running another cohort here at the end of February into March, so you can apply for that. There's an application there on the website. So there's a link in our Instagram bio. Check it out. See if it's for you. We'd love to have you. That's all we got for today, guys. As always, stay caffeinated. Peace.